Hey guys, good morning. It is Tuesday. Um, Yesterday was the last day that we're going to work on doing anything related to solving an equation. That means that we're getting towards the end of the unit. So I want to point out one thing for you to write down in your calendar, and that is that you are going to have a unit 9 and 10 test on Wednesday, April 15th. It is going to be online. I have already put it on the calendar on eClass for you to be thinking about that and start reviewing your inequalities, your equations, how to solve those. And now we're going to get ready to go into the last bit, which is working with expressions. So before we get into today's lesson, jot down your test date and also go ahead and check your homework from yesterday, which was us taking equations and geometry and kind of mashing those together. All right, so for your homework, this is already attached on eClass, just like always. All right, so number 1 and 2, we did those together. Check out number 3. Did you get y equals 7? Okay. Also notice I distributed by 4 here. That's because we're working with a square. So a square has 4 equal sides. So instead of writing this 4 times and adding it, I just decided to use my distributive property skills. Okay. All right. And then check out numbers 4, 5, and 6. So you should have gotten x equals 9 for number 4, v equals 4 for number 5, and for number 6, a equals 4. All right, you can pause it here, or if you want to take a little bit more time to check your own work, you may do that on the PDF file that is attached. All right, so let's take a look at what we're learning today. Actually, it's not new material. We're just extending what we already know. Okay, we're just taking a little step further. All right, so let's look at our learning target, which is I can simplify expressions. I can simplify expressions by, so that means we're going to be using a certain method. So I can simplify expressions by distributing. We should be experts at that. By distributing and combining like terms. Okay, so in order to do that, let's understand what it means to simplify. So when you think of the word simple, what does that mean to you? Kind of like less complicated, easy to understand, perhaps easy to read. Okay, good. All of those things are right. So when I think of simplify as it comes to math, I just think rewrite something in a more simple way. Just make it more simple, easy to understand, easy to read. So I'm going to write that down as part of my notes. Simplify means to rewrite in a more simple way. Okay? Rewrite in a more simple way. So how do you do that? We do that by making groups. Okay? By making groups, that's where we talk about combining like terms. We combine, that means we group, we sort terms that are alike. All right? So at this point, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the one document that I've put on there. You can see that we're going to work on numbers 1, 3, and 22, and then 13 and 15 and 23. Those are tricky ones. If you get those right on tomorrow's answers, you're the bomb. All right, so what do you say we go ahead and get started? So let's look at number 1. Number one, well, the directions say simplify each expression. That means write it in a more simple way. Okay. So number one says 7x minus 5x. Well, I noticed that they're both x's. They have the same variable, different coefficients. Can we combine those? Do those belong in one same group? Yeah, they do. Okay, so how are you going to combine them? You're going to combine them by paying attention to the sign that is within those numbers, okay, within those terms. So if I have 7x, take away 5x, that means I have 2x altogether, right? All right. So you're probably thinking, wait, Miss Pena, aren't we solving for x? Not today, because we're working with expressions. And expressions don't have an equal sign. And if we don't have an equal sign over here with a value, there's no way we can solve what x is unless they tell us what x is, and then we could plug it in and multiply it by 2. So today, you're just rewriting expressions. You're not solving for anything, you're just making groups and writing an expression in a more simple way. All right, so that was number one. Let's take a look at number two. So number three. Number three reads k minus 7 minus 4k. Something to remember here, and it's something that you are expected to know and to remember and to recall, is that the signage in front of a number belongs to that number, okay? So when we're making these groups, when we are combining the groups, we need to make sure that we grab the sign that's in front of that number as well. All right, so let's see. Number three, k minus 7 minus 4k. First thing I want you to do is look at the whole expression, and are there any terms, are there any of those pieces that you feel belong together? Hopefully you're thinking that those k's can be grouped together into one value, and that is correct. The k's belong together. So when I'm combining groups, I like to put circles around what I'm combining. All right, so I want the k's together, right? So I want this k. It doesn't have a sign in front of it, so we assume that it is positive, okay? This k has a minus 4 in front of it, so you need to grab that sign with it, okay? Now we're going to combine those to give just one value for all the k's that we have. All right, if this throws you off because it has no number, here's another piece that you have to remember and recall, and that is that if a variable doesn't have a coefficient, we assume that there is an invisible one. Okay? Now, go back to Unit 7 and let's remember our integer rules. So a positive 1k minus 4k should give you a negative 3k. All right? Okay, so we combined our variables. Now what's up with this 7? And it's a negative 7 or a minus 7. You need to be flexible in your mind and think of it both ways. Can it be grouped with anything? No, it can't, because there's no other constants in there. So at this point, you would just take that minus 7 and just drop it right there. And your simplified expression would be negative 3k minus 7. That's all you can do with it. Did we rewrite it? Did we rewrite it in a more simple way? Yes, we did. How did we do that? Did we distribute? No, in this case, there wasn't any distribution. But did we combine like terms? Yeah, we did. Right here. Okay? All right. Number 22. Hop over to number 22. Okay. Now, I see parentheses, and I see two values in front of that parentheses. Something has to be distributed into the parentheses. But which value is it? Is it the negative 5v or is it the negative 7? The value that we're going to distribute inside the parentheses is the negative 7. You have to remember to take this sign with you. It belongs to this number. Here we go. Okay. So what is negative 7 times 2? Remember, there's invisible multiplication dot right there. Okay. Negative 7 times 2 is a negative 14. Now, what is negative 7 times negative 8v? Well, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 7 times 8 is going to be 56, and do not forget about your v. So that's going to be, so the value for the inside of the parentheses, once we distribute it, is minus 14 or negative 14 plus 56v. Now that we have distributed that, we can go ahead and bring down the negative 5v. Negative 5v. Okay, at this point, this expression looks very similar to number 3. Okay, so think about what can you group together? What can you put in one group and just give one value for it? All right. So that negative 5v can be grouped with that positive 56v. We're going to group it together and give one value. All right, so what's negative 5 plus 56? Think, think, think. All right, that's going to be a positive 51v. What about that minus 14? Well, I can't group it with anything. Okay, there's no other constants in my expression. So the simplest way you can write this very long expression is 51v minus 14. That's it. All right. So I am going to end this right here, give you some time to work through this assignment, and I will put the answers up tomorrow in the morning so you can check it for homework. All right, hopefully that wasn't too bad today. Remember, you have a test coming up, so start reviewing your one-step integer equations, two-step integer, two-step integer with a fraction, two-step with distribution, okay? Take it all the way back to the beginning of Unit 9, and don't forget about those inequalities. All right, guys, good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.